It has now been almost 5 days since I got my Nintendo Switch 2, and I've been playing this thing pretty much non-stop.
I'm the angry vigilante here to fight the fight, breaking down the walls in the dead of night. I don't come for peace, I come for the storm. Fanboys melt quick when the truth gets warm. Solve content's high, I'm collecting those tears. Just got started, but I'm cutting through fears. I'm not here for brand deals, I'm not for sale. I expose your lies, rip off the veil.
Really? You didn't sit there and buy that. He's going to sit there and go on and say, oh, I bought it so I could test it out. You didn't sit there and buy it to test it out. You bought it because you wanted it. You wanted to sit there and get the views, but secretly you wanted it. I don't think I have seen anybody talk as much crap about this system, telling people do not buy it, and then goes ahead and gets it for a pre-order. At least I sat there and told people at least get it pre-owned if you're going to get it.
To test out exclusives, the screen resolution, the controllers, the battery life, just every single aspect of it. And I gotta admit that the more I play my Nintendo Switch 2, the more I kind of just hate this thing. It kind of feels like a ripoff. And
you knew it was going to be. You didn't even say a positive thing before it even came out. You were so negative about it. Someone as negative as you would think they wouldn't go and buy it, but you went and got it just because you wanted it. Now, if you sit there and say, oh, the exclusives aren't going to be that good, well, you got one exclusive out. And yes, Mario Kart World is not worth that price, but it is still fun nonetheless. I never played Fast Fusion, but Fast Fusion, it does look like it could be fun. Now, do I still think the Switch 2 is a ripoff? Absolutely, because I don't think it's a real Switch 2. I think it's a Switch Pro.
It still feels weird to even think that, because the original Nintendo Switch, this is a system that I think might be one of my favorite consoles of all time. And I feel like...
Oh, that's BS. Your favorite console is the PS5, and it always has been. Well, maybe not your all-time favorite console, but you love your PS5 more than you do that Switch. Be honest.
I've ended up buying 10 Nintendo Switches over the course of 8 years, and a lot of that just comes down to the fact that it is such a uniquely well-designed, well-played, well-loved device.
Okay, 10 Nintendo Switches? That's way too much. And I thought Austin John Plays has a lot of Nintendo Switches, but 10 of them? I'm pretty certain you didn't sit there and buy them to collect them. Now, if you did buy certain bundles for a collection, that's one thing, but 10 Nintendo Switches, that is overboard right there. No wonder they have such a high number of units sold.
Whereas the Switch 2, it feels like a cash grab.
Of course it is, but what are you complaining about? You bought a PS5 Pro for crying out loud. You don't think that was a cash grab?
But what I wanted to do today in this video is itemize my frustrations. I want to go from my tiniest gripes to what I consider to be game-breaking problems.
Okay, I only played the system for a few hours with my cousin, and there were no game-breaking problems that I encountered. And my cousin, she has played that for quite a bit. Let's just say she's putting a lot of hours so far into her Switch 2, and I never heard a single complaint from her when it came to game-breaking problems.
About why I'm mad about the Nintendo Switch 2, and kind of just the features and aspects of it that I hate the most.
Well, come on, let's get on with it already. I don't got all damn day.
But now, let's get into it, starting at number 10.
Just so you know, I am not going through all 10 of these. If you think I'm going to react to all 10 of his points, no. I will link his video, and you guys can watch it if you want to, but I will go over some.
Now, this might sound like a very tiny issue, something that's not that substantial, but I've seen actually a bunch of people complaining about this very strange dock.
Yeah, you're just being nitpicky at this point. The only gripe that I would have about the dock is the back part. The back part does feel cheap and like it's a piece of crap and it's going to break soon. But the dock itself actually feels good, so I have no idea what he's complaining about. If you compare it to the other dock, I mean, it's a dock for crying out loud. You slip it in there. I don't see a problem with it.
Which, again, is expensive, but I feel like the big issue with the Nintendo Switch 2 is that they definitely wanted it to be bigger and better.
Yes, this is something we already knew. Get on with the point already.
Which means it's a lot heavier, right? Just in general, you can feel the fact that this is a beefier, heavier, more crazy, dense device. But
okay, what does that have to do with the damn dock already?
When you put it into the dock, you can feel the fact that this thing is very, very tip worthy. I
have never heard anybody complain. You are the only one I've heard complain about it being tip heavy. Yeah, I remember when me and my cousin slipped it into the dock. Yeah, it didn't exactly feel as good as the Switch 1. I would say the Switch 1 felt a little better, but there was nothing bad about it. What the hell are you talking about?
This thing being such a thin piece of plastic and this being such a heavy chunk of batteries and screens and stuff like that, this thing tips over constantly. My cat has knocked this thing over.
Of course you have a cat. That makes all the sense in the world. It's a joke, people. If you enjoy cats, there's nothing wrong with it.
5 times in 5 days. And to put that into perspective, I've had this thing for 8 years. My cat has never knocked it over once. It just seems like this thing...
Okay, you're just being nitpicky at this point. Here's a thought. Keep control of your cat. Have you ever sat there and bought a pull-up bar? You know, they don't come to where you go to do a pull-up and it's automatically not going to tip over. I'm not talking, well, not a pull-up bar, a pull-up rack, sorry. One of those pull-up racks you see at the gym. Guess what? If you don't secure that somehow, it's going to tip over. Are you going to blame the damn thing? Next, I guarantee you his cat's going to piss on his PlayStation 5 and then go blame Sony because they didn't make a better system to where it could stand a cat from peeing on it.
Now, obviously, everybody's going to like different stuff. Not everybody's going to love the same style of controller and stuff, but man, this thing just feels so bad in the hand. It's actually kind of baffling. So
it isn't as bad as he's making it out to be. Maybe if you didn't have weak hands like that, you wouldn't have a problem with it.
This weekend, I had some friends come over. My girlfriend spent some time over here, and she wanted to try the Nintendo Switch 2. And while she was playing it...
Girlfriend, huh? Are you talking about that piece of rabbit fur that you like to rub with yourself every night?
All right. So this is just a complaint I've heard a lot, and I have to say that at first I didn't fully jive with it. I saw a bunch of people saying that it feels weird to play this for hours at a time, that it gets heavy in your hands. And now that I've been playing it more...
It's probably because you're not used to it. When you went from a 3DS to a Nintendo Switch, even the Nintendo Switch felt weird at first. It didn't feel exactly comfortable. You just got to get used to it already.
I got to admit that I definitely noticed it. Like... Just to have comparison, this system, the Nintendo Switch 1, you can easily play it for hours and hours and hours. You can easily hold it.
Well, the battery life will actually last that long. Unfortunately, the Switch 2 will not. And again, it's because you're used to the Nintendo Switch. You're not used to the Switch 2 yet.
On your pinky all day long, right? This thing weighs nothing. It weighs literally a couple grams.
Oh, yes, because that matters so damn much that you can sit there and hold it on your pinky. Remind me correctly, when people play this game, do they sit there and play with their pinky like that? Do they sit there and hold it with their pinky? No, I didn't think so.
Whereas they've admitted this thing weighs about 40% more. And when you hold it, it's very obvious that this is a much heavier device. Now, the problem is that I'm like, oh, it's so heavy, it's falling on my hands. It's the fact that it gets uncomfortable.
It's because you're not used to it. And it's not even that damn heavy.
Perhaps the weirdest aspect of the Nintendo Switch 2 that to me just makes absolutely no sense other than greed is the fact that, like, it seems like about 70% of all the games on the Nintendo Switch 2 are digital only.
What the hell are you talking about? Pretty much almost every of those launch games have physical copies, whether they're a game keycard or not. The only ones I know of, you are talking about Welcome Tour and you are talking about Fast Fusion. Those games are literally cheaper than what the cartridge itself cost. You actually think they're going to put games like that? That's like telling indie developers, why don't you put your games on a physical cartridge? Some games cannot afford to put it on a physical cartridge, for crying out loud. When it's that low of a game that's not charging that much, they have to put them on digital only.
Even if you do buy it, even if you buy a physical box of it, it's actually just a game key. It's fake. It's not actually a real thing. It's straight up just you put it in and it downloads it off the internet. If you pop these...
Well, I don't agree with the whole game key cards, but the thing is they're not exactly digital copies. They're still, you can still go sell it and, buy them and everything after they've been used. A true digital thing you can only use once like that. Well, you can re-download it, but it's not like you can sell it.
Can I be really real with you? I feel like I get so annoyed because I love the social aspect of video games. I've always loved that. It's been my favorite part, is not just playing a game, but sharing a game with your friends, booting it up, showing somebody and saying, hey, isn't this badass? You should go buy it. Oh, check out this game. Check out this demo. Check out this trailer. Go pre-order it today.
Yes, we get it. People enjoy playing with other people. Get on with it already.
When it comes to the Switch 2, this thing is so prohibitively expensive.
No shit, you didn't know that it was expensive? Come on, you pre-ordered it. You knew that the system was expensive. You knew that the game was expensive. Why are you complaining after the fact you already paid for it? Stop playing a victim.
$450 just for the device. Nothing else, just the device. $450.
I would agree, that's very expensive, but you bought a PS5 Pro, which what I would suggest is a lot worse.
Hell no, but On top of that, the fact that games are $80 a pop.
Oh yeah, those games are expensive. I wouldn't say $80 a pop. That's only one game so far, Mario Kart World. Well, no, Outer Worlds just came out at $80 also. Well, it was revealed to be $80, which that's egregious. For a game like that, Microsoft, you're doing something wrong. That's just ridiculous at that point. But I want to get back to the Switch 2 here. I would say that thing should have been sold at $400. That would have been the better price, and then I wouldn't say it was too expensive. So the Switch 2 currently is $50 overpriced. You look at the PS5 Pro, that thing should have been $500, and he paid $700. So you overpaid $200 for a PS5 Pro, which you already had a PS5.
It makes it where you can't just experiment. You can't just try it out. And a lot of these Switch 2 games don't have demos. Hopefully they start getting demos in the future, but
oh yeah, demos need to make a comeback, but there is a way to try it out, okay? There is a thing called Gamefly. You can rent it if you want to.
During this weekend, I was hanging out with friends. I went to the mall, and a subscriber walked up to me, and I jokingly, because I've been making videos hating on the Switch, I said, "You get that Switch 2?" And he was like, "Buddy, I work at the mall. I can't afford the Switch 2."
Well, that has nothing to do with it being a Switch 2. If he can't afford a Switch 2, then he couldn't afford the other gaming systems. I mean, I think currently the PlayStation's a little cheaper right now, but let's not act like the Switch 2 is so much more priced over when it comes, well, the Xbox is definitely priced more, but the PS5 is a little cheaper, so it's not like that it's dramatically of a difference here.
The coolest aspect of a new console generation is always that tech, that boost, the fact that you are playing something that doesn't exist on the predecessor.
Very true, and unfortunately, Nintendo lied to everybody, marketed this as a next gen, a new console, when it's nothing more than a Switch Pro.
Like with the PlayStation 5, obviously it had much better resolution and graphics and no load times, but even stuff like, hey, here's your DualSense controller. Oh, it's got haptic triggers. Oh, it's got this special speaker with 3D sound. It's got stuff that makes you go.
Nintendo has never been known for having amazing controllers here. Maybe their Pro controllers are good, but their base controllers, not so much.
Oh yeah, this is the next generation of technology. The most disappointing aspect of the Switch 2 to me is that it's not the Switch 2.
I know, it's the Switch Pro.
It's the Switch Pro. It is just straight up the exact same device with the exact same menus, the exact same games, the exact same BS, but
oh yeah, and that's what's going to be to hurt Nintendo. When you get a new console, you expect it to feel and look different than the first one. Yes, the outside of it does look a little bit different, but if you look at like a PS4 to a PS4 Pro, PS3 to a PS3 Pro, the systems do look different, but you can tell they belong in the same like generation.
it just doesn't have that hook, that spark, that thing that actually says, here is something cool and completely new. And to me, that is a massive L.
Agreed. I think most people would actually agree with you.
I guess I keep thinking about the fact that when the Nintendo Wii came out, that was right as I finished high school, is when the Nintendo Wii came out. And I remember talking to my older brother about it, and he was like, okay, Twilight Princess is on the GameCube and Twilight Princess is on the Wii.
Wow, I never knew that Twilight Princess was on the GameCube. I thought that was only on the Wii.
Why do you want a Wii if you could play it right now on a GameCube? And I talked to him about the motion controls, where I was like, bro, you can get the Wiimote and actually fight bokoblins and kill Ganon and use your shield to block.
Well, that's how it is pretty much with every system. You know, they generally will only come out with one or two, so it's like, what's the point of getting the new system when you can sit there and when you don't really have that many games to play? Also, that's usually how that goes. And they do make a lot of games for the previous gen. They do make cross-gen games at first.
And he instantly got it because it was a next generation thing that wasn't just a gimmick, it was something interesting and innovative. This thing has nothing interesting or innovative. It is just the Switch Pro.
I agree, but there are games that you can play on it that you can't play on the Switch. You can't play Mario Kart World. You can't play Fast Fusion. I'm not going to count Welcome Tour. You guys can count if you want. I will not count a game that is nothing more than a tech demo that should have been packed inside. You also got the third-party ones, so sitting there saying there's nothing exactly to do on the Switch 2, that's a lie.
And to me, that does just bore me. I mean, the most interesting aspect of this is that the screen's a little bit better. I feel like the docked resolution is better, but is this really it?
No, it's not. But if you were to sit here and play an Xbox, you'd be saying you were bored of it also. If it's not a PS5, you're going to get bored of it. Well, that's it for my reaction. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. Remember, if this video gets 250 likes, I will sit there and release the full song to the intro and outro. So until next time, guys, stay vigilant.
You can cry in the comments, but you won't survive. Like and subscribe if you feel that